Hello you guys, it is me Melanie, and today I am going to be doing my TBR for April, but just like last month we did something a little bit different, and so this month I think we're going to do something a little bit different too, because I think it's fun to switch it up and not necessarily mood read every single month. So this month I am going to be reading the highest and lowest rated books on my TBR. So as you guys might know from my last couple videos, I was mentioning how I have a lot of books on my physical TBR that I haven't read, and so at this point I need to just like only read these and not buy new books. And so I thought a fun way to do this would be to try reading the highest and lowest rated. I've seen a couple other people do this video. I'll put them up on the screen maybe and in the description. What I'm basically gonna do is go on Goodreads and sort the books from like highest to lowest rating based on the ones on my physical TBR, and then those are the books I'm going to read for this month. I think I'm going to pick 2 for my highest and 2 of the lowest. The first step is that I need to go on Goodreads and make a like shelf on Goodreads that's my actual physical TBR, because I do have like a want to read, but those books, a lot of them like I don't have. So yeah, I'm going to do that first and then I'll be right back. Alright you guys, so I went ahead and made a shelf. I'm just going to make this sorted by average rating. So, oh wow. Okay, this is exciting. At the very top, we have Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. Let me get it out. So, this is a book I've actually been wanting to read for a while, so I'm really excited that I got this. It has a whopping 4.5 stars. I don't think I've ever seen a book on Goodreads have such a high, like, average rating. Because I feel like for the most part, people give books like 3 stars, often 4. So to have like an average of 4.5, it's kind of crazy. So I have high expectations for this. So basically, this is a book about Angel, who is a woman who has been wronged by men all her life. And in this area, it seems like a lot of the time, like, the men are just, like, use women and leave them, and so she expects just the worst. And then this man comes into her life, and this is a Christian fiction book, so he's, like, a godly man, and she kind of just feels, like, unworthy because she's never, had a man treat her right before, and so she kind of runs away from his love, but it's just about their relationship. I'm afraid that it might be, like, a little outdated, and I don't know if I'll, like, enjoy it. But I hope I do, and like a lot of times I can kind of put things aside just to like enjoy a story. I mean, maybe it'll be worth the 4.5 rating. The next book, which has a 4.49, which is so close, oh my gosh, is 6 of Crows, which I believe I have this in the back of my book cart. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited I got this because I've wanted to read this book for so long and I just keep putting it off. I don't know why. Because I think a lot of people, I can't remember if it was 6 of Crows or Shadow and Bone, but people are like, you don't have to read them in order. Yes, you do. Oh wait, I just realized, I think people say you should read Shadow and Bone first, and that's why I haven't read this. Oh, what do I do? So should I read this, or should I pick maybe the next book? And then, oh, I want to read this so bad, but I know you're supposed to read Shadow and Bone first. Uh-oh. I think I'm gonna try to read this because I've heard people say that like Shadow and Bone isn't as good as 6 of Crows and that you don't have to read them to get to this book. So I'm gonna try it, and if I start it and I feel like I'm not like getting what I need to get out of it, or I don't understand the plot or the characters or something like that, I'll switch to my next book in that case, which is The Housemaid, which I have right here, and this is, I believe, like a thriller or horror. So Shadow and Bone, it says 6 dangerous outcasts, 1 impossible heist. So I didn't really know about this, and I know it is a fantasy, and I kind of like to go into fantasy, like, not really knowing what it's about, because I feel like you get the full experience that way. But I know this is just basically about a heist, and I've heard such good things about it. Obviously it has a 4.49 on Goodreads, which is, again, a crazy, crazy Goodreads score. Like, if I was Lee Bardugo, I would just feel so proud. But anyways, so I do want to try and read this, but like I said, if it's not going well, I'm going to switch to The Housemaid, and this is by Frida McFadden, who I've also heard really good things about. And basically, it's about a woman who moves in to be the housemaid for a family, and she kind of sees that there's like some sketchy stuff going on in the family, and then I think she also kind of starts to become a little obsessed or like have a romance with the husband. Not really sure if he like reciprocates or if it's more just like her in her mind like becoming obsessed with him. So I don't really know, but I'm excited. I also want to read this. I've heard really good things about it. So these are the top rated books, and like I said, I will probably read them in order. So I'll start with Redeeming Love and then I'll move on to this. If that doesn't work out, like if I feel like I need to read Shadow and Bone first, I will switch out for this one. Now we have to look at the lowest rated books. I'm honestly kind of scared because I'm like excited to read all these books, obviously, because I bought them. So, ooh, okay, interesting. So this kind of works out perfectly. I had this book, Tigers in Red Weather, on my TBR for March and I never got to it. So it works out. It has a 3.43, which, I mean, I feel like in my mind that's not like a horrible rating. It's not like a 2, but it's definitely not promising. So yeah, I do need to finally read this book. I guess the world is telling me that because I had it on my TBR last month and then it's coming up on this month's. It's about like 2 women and they live on Martha's Vineyard, and after the Second World War, they're on the cusp of starting their real lives, but it seems like their husbands kind of like end up not being who they think they are, and they're kind of having problems. And so I believe that they like return home just to kind of like rediscover themselves. It's like a big discovery and drama. Not really sure. I bought this book because of the cover. If you saw my TBR video last month, I did like choosing my TBR based on book covers, and so I chose this book. And I was just a little busy last month. I didn't get to it, but I am going to definitely try and read this book this month. And I am a little scared since like the rating is technically the lowest out of all of my TBR. So let's just hope I don't DNF any of these, but you never know. I'm not going to force myself to read a book that I hate. The next book, I'm actually excited because I want to read this one, so I'm surprised it has such low ratings. This is by Jojo Moyes, and so she wrote that book Me Before You, which I haven't actually read, but I've seen the movie. I actually went to the store wanting to buy that, but they didn't have it, so I got this one instead. It says Nell is 26 and has never been to Paris. She's never been on a romantic weekend getaway to anywhere before. So traveling isn't really her thing, but when her boyfriend fails to show up on their vacation, she has the opportunity to prove to everyone, including herself, that she can kind of go on her own and explore Paris. And so she finds a version of herself that she never knew existed, independent and intrepid. So I'm very interested to see like if she finds romance in Paris with someone that's not her boyfriend. Like, do they break up? What's the deal? But honestly, like, it sounds really good to me. I'm surprised it has a low rating. Let's see, it was 3.53. So I know that this author, like in general, I think it's pretty good reviews. Like Me Before You has a 4.26. So I hope I enjoy this. I have 2 romances this month, which is exciting because I am kind of in the mood for some romance. So, yeah, this is my TBR, and I will probably be reading 4 of these, so one of these 2. But I am very excited. I think what I'll probably do is like alternate one of the high-rated books and then maybe one of the low-rated books in case the low ones like really are bad, so I'm not just reading like good, 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 and then bad, bad, and like put myself in a book slump. So we will see. That is my TBR for April, and now really quick I am going to go through the books that I read last month because like I mentioned in my last TBR video, I am going to be putting like my TBR and my wrap-ups together because I think they're both like a little too short to do on their own. So yeah, in March, I read, the first two I'm going to talk about together, it was Imagine Me and Believe Me by Tahira Mafi. These were the final 2 books in the Shatter Me series, and oh my gosh, I am so glad to be done. I was like too far into the series to give up on it, but I honestly just did not really enjoy it, and I feel bad saying that because everybody loves that series, but it just was not my thing. I rated Imagine Me 3 stars, and I rated Believe Me 3.25 stars. Honestly, I just felt like at this point it was just dragging on, and like when I give it that rating, honestly, like I didn't even enjoy it that much. I just like, it wasn't a bad book, so I don't know. I just like, I don't care about it. I don't ever think about that series. I'm just like glad to be done with it, and I feel like I just was so tired of all the characters by the end of it. So yeah, I'm not really gonna talk much about those because honestly, just not my thing. The next book I read was Ariadne, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it. I ended up being not exactly like what I thought it would be. Like the storyline and who it followed I thought it was going to be a lot more about the Minotaur, but then it ended up just kind of being about the daily life of the two sisters. But honestly, I think I enjoyed it more. It has a lot of like commentary about like women's rights, or like kind of how women are treated opposed to men, and I really enjoyed reading it. It's not like too in your face, like you're not reading a book that's just basically gonna like scream down your throat like women are oppressed, but it's kind of like, because I mean, I think we all know that like women are treated differently than men, so I don't need a book to like scream it at me. But there was some themes in here that made me feel like upset because they were true. But I thought was really good. I thought the writing was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I know it doesn't have like that high of a rating, I don't think, on Goodreads. Okay, this has 3.82 on Goodreads, so I rated it 4.5, so obviously I liked it more than the average person, I guess, but I really enjoyed it. I think if you like Greek mythology, you'll really like it. And honestly, it was just one of those books, like, it kind of was a comfort read, even though it had some like harsh topics to deal with. I really enjoyed reading it, and like I didn't feel like I was rushing through it to find out what was happening, but it just was like a good like sit outside in the sun, soak it all in, like that kind of thing. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. The last book I read I don't have with me because my mom is borrowing it, but that is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but I enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's kind of a weird book because it's almost like a self-help book, I feel like, but you maybe don't realize that until the end. And so like that was like a little weird just because I don't really read self-help books, but it's a fiction at the same time. So I don't know, I did really enjoy it. It kind of makes no sense for a lot of it. Like, I was reading some of the Goodreads reviews and they were cracking me up because the people who don't like it, like, making up sentences to mock it about how, like, a lot of the book talks about, like, the world spoke to me, or, like, the wind talked to me, and things like that. And so they were like, the wind told me that this was a bad book, and, like, all this, which I thought was funny, but I did disagree with. I did like the book. I wouldn't say, like, I would reread it. It wasn't, like, a 5-star or anything. But it was good. It was also really short. It's like super quick and easy to read. And the last book, I actually haven't like finished this. I kind of just started it, but I don't know like how far I'll get or if I'll finish it in March. But it's Big Summer by Jennifer Weiner. I can't talk too much about it because like you can see I haven't gotten too far into it, but I don't know if I'll finish it this month or next month. And I love it so far. I'm only like 3 chapters in. But so far, I'm, like, feeling like this could be a 5-star. And to me, like, for me to feel that in the first, like, 3 chapters is kind of crazy, because usually I'm kind of bored for the beginning of a book. So I have super high hopes for this, and I will probably include it in my next month's reading wrap-up, even if I finish it this month, just so I can talk about it and tell you guys my final feelings. But yeah, so that was everything I read in March, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will keep you guys updated on my Instagram, or maybe like some YouTube shorts possibly coming out soon about like how I'm feeling about this month's TBR. Definitely follow me on Instagram because I post more frequently on there, just kind of like quotes and things, more like a day in my life type stuff. So if you'd like to see how I'm feeling throughout the month, otherwise I will definitely let you guys know in next month's wrap up what I think of these books. And you can also follow me on Goodreads and Storygraph. I'll have those in the description. I do like update Goodreads pretty frequently with my reads, so I know that I don't post on YouTube like super often because of school, but if you want to know what I'm reading, definitely check that out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!